Back at the here, it's Pro Football Today. Joe Lisi, Donnie Rightside. I'm Kevin Walsh. We line up the AFC West, and we talk Chiefs off the top. They're the Super Bowl favorites. Pat Mahomes is the MVP favorite. We'll get to all of that. But for a while, and not that long, but there was an idea that they would see some significant challenges from this division. The Broncos brought in Russell Wilson. It went worse than almost anybody could have envisioned. The Chargers had Justin Herbert, but also maybe the worst coach in the history of this league in Brandon Staley. And the Raiders stuff has just been messy for a while. So now when you look at this division, Kansas City's price, minus 230. Look around the rest of this league. It's clearly the biggest favorite on the board. So before we get to Kansas City, Joe, Chargers, Raiders, Broncos. If you had to pick a second team to be interested in a positive direction, who would it be?
Las Vegas. And old man Gardner Minshew, because I actually think he can win games in the NFL. You add Brock Bowers along Devontae Adams in terms of that offense. They have now dynamic hybrid type of playmakers that can stretch defenses over the top. We saw Zamir White and the offensive line as it relates to the rushing attack take games over at the end of the regular season. They got conference divisional wins over Kansas City as a 12.5-point dog in Arrowhead, and they blew out the Chargers last year with Brandon Staley at the end of the regular season. I would bet on Las Vegas as being the second-best team. I love what they did in regards to the offseason addition, 6.5 win total. I think they could be an 8 or 9-win football team, Donnie.
Yeah, and obviously we're going to talk about the Chiefs, but there's not a lot to love in this division where we're saying, like, who do you like? It should automatically be the Chargers are the team that is supposed to challenge the Kansas City Chiefs. But here's what's happening here, and rightfully so. There's a reason why the Chargers haven't won big over the past couple years, whether it's the head coach or just the way the team was put together, because for some reason, they just don't work. On paper, phenomenal when you look at it. Pass rush, secondary, athletic linebackers, running game, wide receivers, quarterback. It should all be there, and it just hasn't worked. Now you bring in Harbaugh from Michigan. He's going to hit the ground running, which what does that mean? Hey, look, I know I got some talented wide receivers. Whoop, you're gone. I'll draft my own guys. We might want to get back to running the football more than we do in the past, which is like the opposite of what you probably think with Justin Herbert. It will take time. Harbaugh is going to fix this team. It's just not going to be this year. I would have loved to have seen if Harbaugh had come in, guys, didn't make a single change personnel-wise and goes, boy, I got a lot of talent. Let me just see 1 year on an evaluation before I blow it up because I'm going to be here for a couple years. He didn't. He tore it down right away, which you know they're going to be competitive in football games. I just don't think they have the horses there. The Vegas Raiders, as you talked about, I love Gardner Minshew more than anybody, but sooner or later the luck is going to run out on Gardner Minshew where it's like, hey, I got to lead football teams, multiple teams to victory here in a division with the Chiefs. I just don't see it. And then the Denver Broncos seem like they're just restarting at quarterback. So it might be a gift for Kansas City, but for me, again, it should be an easy Chargers answer, but I don't even have an answer for that because I don't think they're going to be all that good this year.
I think it's interesting. If you look, the Chargers, it's a plus price to make the playoffs, but it's not a big one.
Yeah.
Right? It's plus 106, so you could fade that team.
Are we just betting them because Harbaugh's there, though? Like, what are we betting them on right now?
Well, there's still a lot of people that think Herbert's one of the 5 best quarterbacks.
No. I'm coming from the school of thought I like Herbert, but they're not as talented as they were last year.
I think there are people who will say, and not to do it because it'll get tricky to do off the top of your head, right? Coach quarterback combos, I would imagine they'd be comfortably inside your top 10.
Yeah.
People then typically will just bet on that.
I hear you.
But I'm not saying that that's what I'm doing, right? I think the Chargers' numbers, again, they don't feel as discounted as I would envision due to a lot of the moves that they've made. The one that actually jumps off the page for me a bit is Denver. Yeah. Here's the thing. I know Sean Payton has fallen out of favor for a lot of people, but if we all agree that Russell Wilson is largely a train wreck, then why is it all Sean Payton's fault who went 8-9 last year? I mean, is that win total, is that correct? 5.5?
Yeah.
I mean, are you serious?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Sean Payton winning 5 games.
Yeah.
Listen, you're going to tell me Bo Nix is bad. Is he that bad?
No, well, here's the thing. I'll say this. I don't think Bo Nix is that bad. He's coming off one of the most prolific seasons in college football history. 45 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 78% completion percentage. He was one of the top quarterbacks in all of FBS. I believe Bo Nix can be successful, but it's a huge-ass number one. You get rid of your best playmaker, Jerry Jeudy, and I just don't think Sean Payton's in it for the long haul. I'm sorry. I do not believe Sean Payton took this job in Denver to completely rebuild this from the inside out like Jim Harbaugh. He took this job because he thought it was a shiny Ferrari. He could wave the pixie dust over it and make the playoffs and potentially challenge for a Super Bowl with a Super Bowl quarterback at the helm in terms of Russell Wilson. Once he found out the type of player Russell Wilson was in regards to this point in his career and more importantly in the locker room, he blew it up. He wanted to get rid of Sutton and Jeudy in the middle part of the year after Miami put up 70
but that's what
in
Harbaugh
that game.
did. Harbaugh blew it up.
But that's the right thing. Harbaugh's in it for the rebuild. Harbaugh's in it because he won a national championship and he wants to get back to becoming an NFL champion. And he doesn't care if it takes 2 or 3 seasons.
And he figures he has his long-term quarterback too.
Right.
Yeah.
He has the quarterback. Now Sean Payton said, well, I have Russ. I'll just, all he needs is me and my tutelage, and we could be a 10 or 11 win football team, make the playoffs, and challenge Kansas City. Once he realized it was harder than that, he's got his sights set on a $15 million job probably back with Fox, and he wasn't that good anyway.
Wait, I like that. But so I don't know if I can get there because Mike Tomlin, who everybody loves, is trying to latch onto Russ, and Sean Payton went, this guy's terrible. No, this guy's awful. And has now bought into a young kid in Bo Nix that he was high on. No, I think he's trying to cover ground by acting like he had Bo Nix as the number 1 quarterback in the draft. But you got Sean Payton winning 5 games. So I got to pretend Mike Tomlin's going to go over 500 every single year, and I got Sean Payton winning 4 games, 3 games.
They just didn't work, though.
But they went 8-9, Donnie. Yeah, but it couldn't have gone worse than they went 8-9.
Yeah.
The record's the record.
The problem with that is because, and to Joe's point quickly here is, you get the quarterback. He thought he was just skating right in, like, I got Russell Wilson. It didn't work. Watch me be a genius next year because I'll make a Hall of Fame quarterback work. That's easy work. It didn't work, and not only didn't work, you move him away and you blow up that salary cap. So he's in so much trouble right now that you had to swing for Bo Nix and hope it works out. Otherwise, it's going to be misery in them. They didn't sign up for 3 mediocre years under Sean Payton.
5-12 to 8-9 to 4 wins. I don't know about all that. Chiefs are next. Back here at Pro Football Today, and as tempting as it is to just yell at them and beg them to agree with me that the Broncos will be good, I won't do that. Before we get to Kansas City, there is one other point I want to bring up on the other teams with the Raiders. Starting quarterback price, Gardner Minshew minus 225, Aiden O'Connell plus 172. I feel like they should be starting O'Connell and giving him that opportunity. But I guess the idea around the Raiders is they're going to be contending for a big-time playoff spot this year?
Yes. I think they're going to be an 8 or 9 win football team. And Pierce has done a pretty good job. The players love him. Crosby loves him. That defense stepped up. If they could play the way they did at the end of the regular season, again, knocking off the Chargers in Kansas City, why can't you say we're going to compete for a wild card this year? The division is winnable outside the Kansas City Chiefs, right? So what I'm saying is...
That's a good one.
Let me rephrase that. What I mean by that is Kansas City, right? If they lose both games against Kansas City, assuming that, they still have the opportunity to be 4-2 in the division.
Oh, I got you.
Okay. I mean, so they can be the second-best team. They have a veteran quarterback. I think the defense, to me, showed me something. I don't know why their win total is 6.5. That's more intriguing to me than the Denver total at 5.5.
Here's what I think most teams would also make the error in judgment, which like Antonio Pierce seems like he's a very good player's coach, which means when you're entering into the season, he's not going to say, Aiden O'Connell, I don't even think you deserved it, but upper management's telling me we got to go with the young kid to see what you got. Like, you didn't bring Gardner Minshew and they'd be like, hey, you're that super backup, just in case it goes bad, rescue our team and make the playoffs. I honestly believe you should start the best quarterback, and I don't think Antonio Pierce, with the way he took over that locker room and how they respect him, where everybody sees that shouldn't be the quarterback, but yet that quarterback is still in there. It's not going to happen. I think Gardner Minshew, day number 1, should be your starter out there. I do.
I disagree. I get it, though, ultimately, because I do think their thought is, we are trying to win football games,
correct.
And Gardner winning that battle wouldn't surprise me all in all. Let's get to Kansas City. Here's what I actually want to start with the Chiefs, because we already said, look, they're favorites. They're great. Even if they look bad, we'll believe in them. We get it. Week 1, they host Baltimore. Week 2, they host Cincinnati. What a massive 2-game stretch there, where if they go 2-0, you might be talking under 4-1 to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But if you take those two teams that we have seen be good in the regular season, and by chance they put 0-2 on KC, unlikely, super unlikely, all of a sudden then things get really, really interesting. I guess the most likely outcome would be a 1-1 start for KC, but even that would be super fascinating because it'll have a lot of implications on the North, which we've already talked about. I just find that KC open to the season, Lisi, super fascinating.
It is, and if they do go 0-2, are they going to move off the 6-1 to win the Super Bowl? Probably not. Maybe they go to 7-1. 8-1. They're not going 10-1 if they start 0-2. They lost to Detroit last year, 21-20, and they still found a way with one-dimensional type of offense and lack of an explosive passing attack to still win the Super Bowl. Now you add Marquise Brown into the mix, Xavier Worthy, Isaiah Pacheco, and Travis Kelce in terms of a playoff type of situation with Pat Mahomes. They're not going anywhere. So, again, maybe it affects the divisional odds and maybe it affects the AFC championship odds to a degree. But from the Super Bowl perspective, there's still value at 6-1 overall. When you get Pat Mahomes at 6-1, I mean, barring any major injury, I'd buy in right now.
I am buying in already, and it's not because I love the Chiefs. I just love Patrick Mahomes, and he's shown me time and time again, same with Andy Reid, it doesn't matter who's on the field, who my running back is, who my wide receivers are, who my defense is. As long as I have the football, I'm going to win that game. Like last year, you sort of get that break. You play Miami at home in the freezing cold conditions where Miami just wilted and was done. But then you said, you know what? Ooh, they got the Bills. Yeah, man, they squeaked by. I can't believe that. Oh, no way they beat the Ravens on the road. They did it. They beat the two best teams in the AFC on the road. So what leads me to believe this year, if, again, Patrick Mahomes is healthy, which he hasn't shown us that he can't stay healthy for a season, why aren't we just betting on him automatically? And again, the division, sometimes it makes it so hard to get there. Their division is so easy while they're minus 230. They should walk into that, have at least one home game, and away you go. Oh, look at that. They only have one home game. You got to get the AFC Championship out of Arrowhead. Doesn't matter. They keep winning it.
Yeah, I think the frustrating thing for me, and I know some people say I'm a hater, I left unimpressed. I know they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Buffalo left a million things on the table.
Yep.
Everybody involved with the Ravens should be fired. And don't get me started on the Super Bowl. The actual Super Bowl, I never want to talk about it again. The whole thing was miserable. But they took advantage. But it was a down year. So, again, I don't know how often you can get that fortunate. But
true.
They might not need to if they're better this year, which is definitely on the board, especially with the way the division could be shaping up.